In this video we're going to delve into the serious allegations against the current Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison. Did he really shit himself in a McDonald's in 1997?
The date is the 20th of September 1997. The Super League Grand Final between the Brisbane Broncos and the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks had just come to an end. The nearly 59,000 supporters watched as the Brisbane Broncos finished their 7-win streak to take home the A-League trophy. The Sharks had been shat on, losing 26-8 in an embarrassing defeat for the team. A young Scott Morrison left the stadium with the defeat of his beloved Sharks in mind. As he drove back from the game down the Prince's Highway, ScoMo, as he likes to be called, turned off and entered the Engadine McDonald's. The Maccas, as the Aussies like to call it, was violently vandalised, but not in the normal sense. There was no time for anyone to react, as a massive explosion shook the inside of the Maccas. ScoMo had just experienced explosive diarrhoea, resulting in his pants being fatally wounded. To commemorate the fallen, a plaque was placed outside the Maccas remembering the incident.
This all sounds funny, but did it really happen, or is this just a smear campaign? Let's start breaking the incident down from the beginning. The story starts off strong, as the Super League game did happen and ScoMo is a massive supporter of the Sharks and has been cited attending their matches. However, there's no direct evidence I could find that puts him at the match, but that said, it does not mean he didn't attend it. It was a massive occasion for the team, and it's not unlikely that a die-hard supporter like ScoMo would have attended the match. Here is where the story starts to smell a bit off, as we don't know if he needed the toilet or if it was unexpected. If we go for the theory that he was holding in a turtle head, it's a 10-hour drive to the Engadine Maccas in the stadium in Brisbane. Any driver knows that if he had to wait that long, he'd be buying air fresheners, not McDonald's. This obviously brings up the question, why not go in the other 1,000,001 toilets he drove past on the way down? You could say he only knew he needed to go while driving down the Prince's Highway, but the exit to the Maccas would take him straight past a KFC, so why not stop there? So let's rule out the poo was expected and say ScoMo went in there expecting a McFlurry, not a McShit.
But the story really starts to fall apart once we look at how it came out. The first mention of the story was 21 years after the Super League Grand Final, when a Twitter user Joyride posted, "Scott Morrison shat himself at the Engadine McDonald's after the Sharks lost the Grand Final in 97. He then followed it up with another post 4 minutes later saying, "Pretty bad I heard, my mate was working there at the time." After this tweet, shit hit the fan and the myth was made, with many on Twitter and Reddit trying to prove it did happen and making jokes about it. It should be noted though that Joyride never mentioned any names and added no other evidence to his story. Joyride's account can also not be taken too seriously, as looking at his Twitter is full of more shit than ScoMo's pants. There's also the question on how did Joyride's mate remember it was ScoMo, as he was not famous at the time and would take many more years to become so, meaning he remembered a random guy's face who shat at Macca's 21 years ago. To add more fuel to the fire, the Engadine McDonald's is not even on the route back to Canberra, where ScoMo used to work. This would mean he'd have to take a detour to get to the Maccas, which would have extended the drive back from 12 hours to 13.5 hours.
So why is this myth so well known? The story grew big because ScoMo refused to comment on it when asked and ignored any chances of people finding the truth. It grew even more attention when he openly made a joke about the event in the Midwinter Ball in Canberra, saying what really happened at the Engadine McDonald's in 1997. It will remain the mystery of the ages. His unwillingness to answer questions and to joke about the event led many to believe he did vandalise the Maccas with faecal matter. It would then take another 3 years for ScoMo to comment on the topic, where he announced to the world it never happened. ScoMo describes it as being the biggest urban myth ever and follows up by saying it never happened and it's complete and utter rubbish. But to be honest, if you did shit yourself in the Engadine Maccas in 1997, you wouldn't admit it. Well, that brings us to the end of the video. Please comment below your opinion on the story and tell me if you think he did shit himself. I'd love to see your view on the matter. Thanks for watching and please consider subscribing and liking the video.